You've been served with a protection from abuse notice of a hearing. What that means is that someone has filed against you saying that you have either abused, stalked, harassed, or threatened them. It could be physical, it's not always physical. It could be stalking or harassment. It is a civil action and it's normally heard within 10 days. You have a right to be heard within 10 days. They are scheduled every week with the court to be heard. If you find that yours is longer than 10 days, you may want to ask the court to hear it sooner. The other thing when you get a protection from abuse that's very important to look for is whether a temporary order has been entered against you. A judge, if they have signed a temporary order, usually will tell you that you cannot have any contact, you must stay away from that person. Those orders can become a criminal matter if you violate them. So the order itself is civil in nature, but when you violate an order, it becomes criminal in nature and the police could pick you up. When you go to your hearing, the best defense would be to have an attorney. But oftentimes you don't have enough time to find an attorney because you might be served 2 days before the hearing. And the court doesn't care if you don't have sufficient notice as far as weeks to prepare or days to prepare. But they will appoint an attorney to represent you when you go to court. But you're going to want to bring your evidence because the trial is going to happen the day of the scheduled hearing, more than likely. If you even have the luxury of having a trial, because on a PFA day, most of the time they're going to want to try to enter a type of temporary order, especially if you're not being evicted from your home and you're not having your children taken away from you. But there are times when you really want to defend on a PFA, and those particularly would be when you have children, when there's a custody case involved, because nowadays the PFA can impact your custody. So one option would be to get the children removed from the PFA, but even with that, you may want to have a hearing and you're going to want to have documentation on what actually happened. So you're going to want to contact an attorney well in advance of the hearing, as much time as possible so that they could prepare. But in some cases, your case may be dismissed just because the person didn't have the ability to bring a PFA and did. So under the statute, there's only certain relationships can bring a PFA. You can't get a PFA because your neighbor doesn't like you. Your neighbor cannot bring a PFA against you. At the present time, you can't get a PFA because your girlfriend or boyfriend's mother doesn't like you. They don't have the ability to bring a PFA. So if you happen to get a PFA served on you, the best thing you can do is to contact an attorney so that they can explain your rights.